All's well that ends well. No penalty advantage. Lebiskachny. Bosch. Etzebeth. Movement on the outside. Numbers for the Sharks. Can they make it happen? Fossey finds Mapipi.
Hi guys, Howzit? Welcome Trek Amal Huimura with Texas. It is still morning time here. Just finished up watching the Sharks and Lions game. Any of you guys that did come out to the live, I do appreciate it very much. So, 2018, the final from Hollywood Kings Bet Park, coming down to a kick at the end of the game. So let's go ahead and go through the notes for this one. Bosch, from the kickoff, Kerwin Bosch kicks it into touch. Very first kick of the game, very first play of the game, it does go into touch. Once again, for the first 5 to 7 minutes, it's the Shark attack. Attack. But once again, just like last week, just not really anything materializing out of any of it, really, to be honest with you. Nothing really materializing out of it. They come away with really nothing. And then at the 7th minute, Vandenberg does try there's a penalty deep in there. He does a quick tap. It does come back for the penalty. Mohamba does elect a kick, and it is 3-0, 7 minutes into this one. 4 minutes later, I can't remember, I didn't get the name, but a Lions player fails to wrap up on a tackle, and it does result in a penalty, and Bosch decides to kick. So it is 3-3 at the 11th minute. Deep pressure. We're talking like multiple 6, 7, 8 phases for the Sharks. They get deep in the end. And I mean, like, they end up turning it over at like the 5-meter line. This has been kind of the story for them for this season. They just can't get anything to materialize. And it continued this afternoon. A couple of minutes later, though, they finally get superior numbers out left. Mr. Makazole Mampipi with the try, his typical thing out wide. And Kerwin Bosch does nail it. It is 10-3. 9 minutes later, still kind of, like I said, kind of a stalemate getting deep into the Lions' end. And Bosch decides to go for the drop goal and makes it a 13-3 game after 10-3 game after, give me a second, a 13-3 game. My notes are confusing here. I'm sorry, guys. It was just a stall. They weren't getting any movement going. And then 2 minutes later, Grant Williams does cross. It's a deep carry from Fenter, which he had a hell of a day. And Bosch does miss to the left, and we end up going into half at that score at 18-3 at the half. The possession and territory is like 72-28 for the Sharks in the first half. The Lions' penalties killed them. In the last 5 to 6 minutes of the half, the Lions just got repeated penalties, one after another, and it was killing them. And it did not look good, 18-3 at halftime for the Lions. 5 minutes into the second half, a scrum penalty on the Sharks. Nahamba does elect a kick. I guess he's used to that high elevation there in Joburg, and he's short of the posts. So he's 1 of 2 on the day so far. It's still 18-3. 50th minute, the best attack the Lions had put on it all day. It ends up a high tackle advantage. Bahama does kick to touch. After the penalty, the referee comes up, lets Lucanio know, hey, look, you guys are penalties, high tackles. You need to clean it up, or somebody's going away. The line out happens. Hobler collapses the maul. He is yellow carded. He is out for the next 10 minutes, and it is 18-10. So during this entire, the first, 3 minutes into this, Vandenberg does take a knock to the head. Hendricksa does come in. They move Mohamba at the fly to a scrum half. Hendricksa at fly half. And it's for the first 5, just nothing. The Lions can't even get the ball. The Sharks are just holding onto the ball with a man down. And eventually Fenter of the Lions does commit a penalty, comes from the side. So they finally do get possession of the ball back. Then they get Fenter, a minute later, another penalty for not rolling away. And Mahamba does elect to kick. He does make it. He's 2 of 3 on the day so far, and it is 18-13. 63rd minute, scrum penalty against the Sharks. I mentioned Hintz, but it wasn't. It was Nchuku, the hooker. Once again, I brought up in my pregame video, Hintz is he's just not up to snuff for URC standards, man. That's just, I mean, I know it's my personal opinion, but I don't see it. He's just not up to snuff. I know you guys are trying to give a guy a chance, and he's a journeyman at this point. Like I said, he's played in New Zealand. He played here in the U.S. Last year with New England and winning the championship. He's just not up to snuff for URC standards. He's just not there. And you could just tell. 70th minute, the Lions get deep, but Etzebeth with like the big stop after the line out, the driving. He does bring the ball across the deadline, does kind of save their butts there. 73rd minute, Van Furen with the not releasing penalty. Mahamba does kick, and he misses to the left, so it's 18-13 still at the 73rd minute. Back and forth, fight. Lions just trying to get whatever territory they can. And eventually at the 77th minute, they do get a penalty on the Sharks. Mahamba does kick to touch. And the captain, Lowe, for the Lions, does get across. And Mahamba, he nails it. 2018. And you think that's it. You can kind of see the fans and the crowd just visibly crushed. There's 90 seconds left to go in this game. A game at one point they were leading 18-3. They have not scored. They have allowed at this point 17 unanswered points. And the 79th minute, man, the magician, the boogeyman himself, Etzebeth, does draw the penalty. So the horn goes off. 80 minutes, Botha Chamberlain, first kick of the day, out wide. And I'm just kind of on the edge of my seat. The people in the crowd are already celebrating because they think, oh, he's going to nail this and we'll get the win. We'll walk out of here. No, he shanks it to the left. And that's game. They gave Eben Etzebeth man of the match. I am not going to give Eben Etzebeth. I am going to give Lowe the captain center for the Lions. What a workhorse he was all day, carrying the ball. Fossey for the Sharks. Heaps and heaps of meters. But it goes back to what I said in last week's breakdown video, man. The Sharks just don't gel. They've got all this talent, all this grace, all these great guys. And there's just nothing to show for it at the end of the day. There's nothing to show for it. You give up 17 unanswered points. And I don't know how Plumtree still has a job at this point. I'm no rugby genius. I'm no rugby guru. But there's got to be a point at which you say, when is enough enough? You've got all this talent, and you gave up 17 unanswered points to a team that you are on paper way better than. No, I hand it to the Lions, okay? They are basically like the grassroots team in URC South African teams. They don't have any huge names on their roster. They have a couple of guys with a cap here and there, but for the most part, they're kind of a grassroots team. They're very, very built. Like, it's not 5 or 6 Springboks on their team. It's not, they're probably on paper, they should be the worst team of the 4 URC sides in South Africa. And on paper, the Sharks should be the best. It's not the Sharks. I don't put the Lions as the best. That's the Bulls and Stormers. But at what point, when is enough going to be enough? You could say, oh, well, they're missing Bongi Manami and Thomas Dutoy. I don't think that would make that big of a difference. You've got some good talent. Fossey, you've got Lucanio Am, you've got Makasole Mampipi. Werner Koch is great at the URC level. But when is enough enough? Joel Hintz should not be playing. It's just a simple fact of the matter. He does not look like he's where he's supposed to be. It would be like me. It would be like a fashion show, and you've got all these buffed up male models, and you see me come out with my bald spot and gut hanging out. That's what it feels like with Joel Hintz. He's on the field with a bunch of top A guys, and he's not a top A guy. Now, it's kind of back to the drawing board. Mathematically, there's no way the Sharks can pull them out of where they're at. If the Lions continue on this, they could easily break into the top 8. They're on the heels of the Stormers right now. You've got the Bulls, Stormers, and I believe the Lions do have it. I think they make it into the top 8. Do they make it out of the first round of the elimination? No, I don't think they do. But you've got to tip your hat to Van Rooyen and everybody there in Johannesburg. It is the team that is probably the least supported in the stands. You saw that in my pregame video. I did talk about it. And they're still winning. So congrats to the Emirates Lions. All you Lions fans out there, it's a good day. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll be back at this next week. We've got Sail Sharks and Stormers next week. Definitely looking forward to that one. But you guys let me know what you think, and have a great weekend. Tootsians, and cheers, guys.